start. I'm just going, on my case, I'll just search for PowerPoint, same as you did, and I'll just press enter, and it should open up something for me in a second. I do apologize, as always, I've got multiple screens, so I have to move things around. So here's my PowerPoint, and when it opens for me, it takes me to something called the backstage view. It's like backstage. If you've ever gone to an event, the backstage is where the mostly the artists and other people go through. So pretty much what is going on behind the scenes, more or less. But from the backstage view, so I've got things like a home button. It shows me who is logged in, which in my case is me. And I've got a home button, I've got a new, recent, and then things that have been shared with me. And of course, I can open a new file. At the top, I've got, so more or less the bigger working area, the same. I've got themes that I can pick up from. So simply themes, you can think of themes as a collection of color schemes and other things that I can make use of, right? In here, I have a really good tool. So if this is the first time you are using PowerPoint tool, I would encourage you to take this tour, but not right now, after the session, okay? And I have recent, which shows me recent files I have probably worked with the time. And then also I have things that maybe I can pin to the top, or things that have been shared with me. You can see some things have been shared with me. So my recent files in here, you see, like maybe I've got a lot of work over time. So let's say this, I really like working with this presentation too, or I don't know, recording of this in class or something. Let's pick any random one. I've got K-means, I like that. So if this is K-means or flow diagram, maybe I know I'll come back to this particular one, which was done in October. I like to use this, so I really want it at the top. I click the pin button and it gets pinned to the top for me. So next time you see the flow diagrams on there, it shows on the top of my recent list because I've pinned it. So I'll pause on here. I go back to reference, and then you see that I'll pause on here, give you the chance to open your PowerPoint, have a look at what you see, whether you see the backstage view, and on the backstage view, how what is on there, or whether you have some recent files. Pin one of them to the top, and then we see how best we can follow or continue. So basically, if you want to click new, just create a new file and other things, but let's use a template. So let's go to more themes. So, you know, you have so many theme options, but at the top right corner, in my case, I've got a search. So let's say I just want to use CV, for example. You get international infographic CV, board, something resume, I don't know, poster. You get various options for design. I don't know, something else. Somebody give me technology infographics, some things. I don't know. I think, let me check whatever. Even artificial animal image, back to school flyer, architectural design, agency designs. So you get a lot of options that you can pick from. Travel design, public health. So most of us have yoga flyer, fitness brochure, medical design presentation. So let's go with medical design, COVID-19 poster. No, we're not going with that. So medical design presentation, and it gives us something pre-populated, right? And from here, you notice you've got, of course, your main page. You've got on the left-hand side, you've got a bunch of thumbnails. These thumbnails are called slides. So it, of course, what's on your left-hand side is slides, but they are the thumbnails for the slide. So if we want to go to, let's say, slide 7, we just click on the 7th one, and it gives us where the template and stuff that we can enter. And of course, each of them that we click on give us something that we can use. So if it's just a template, so if you want to type over it, this is just using templates. So an awesome presentation on medical health. For example, subtitle, you can just say by Prof. Michael Spalding. Right. Something cool, something interesting, completely up to you. And of course, if we want, we can view the presentation and it looks okay. It's nice and easy. We've not even done much, but we've got something cool to work with. So I'll wait for you to open a theme of your choice and start typing. Remember, at some point, you share this presentation with me. So open a theme of your choice, stop typing some content, and then see how it goes or how it looks like. At least make sure you can get to this point as well. So I'm going to try to go to the backstage view. If I go to file, open, you see each on the file menu, each one on the left-hand side, it gives me my shortcut. So Command O is what? Keyboard shortcut for open. And then Shift Command P is new from template, and it gives me some options as well. If you have Windows key computer and you press Alt and then tap Alt F, the Alt will highlight. You see F are highlighted, E, and you see an underscore on top of the first, underneath the first letter. You just press that particular one and it will still open that for you. But I want to go to File and I click New from Template, and it takes me back to the backstage view. So hopefully that should work for you as well. And if so, you just say, yes, it did. Good. So on here, we want to start with a blank presentation. Obviously, you've got some really cool stuff that you can use or make use of by yourself. But let's go from to a blank presentation. So that opens up blank presentation for us. If you are using the licensed version or latest version of Office or PowerPoint, you should have the presentation, the designer suggestions. So just suggest new design techniques, like you've got some really cool things you can use on the left-hand side. You just select any of them. It gives you some nice presentation startups that you can have. I like that one. I'm not sure about you, but that's maybe just me. So you get a lot of design ideas that you can work with from. But we're not going to go with design idea for now. In my case, I'll just press Control Z to go back. So Command Z for Mac, Control Z for Windows, and that should undo for you. So that's a keyboard shortcut for undoing things. So on here, I've got my main slide. Let me give it a name. First presentation. My first presentation, and I'll just say something cool. I don't know. Again, let's make it simple. It changes, you notice it changes the suggestions on there. Let's try something else and see. Let's say medical. And it picks something relevant as far as the design suggestions are concerned, something maybe related to DNA and other things. Let's try something else. Technology. So then it gives me something fancy related to technology that I can use. So that's pretty straightforward. So the key thing is that with the new design that has been presented, we're just going to use this approach to create new slides as well. I can click on the left-hand side, you see a marker underneath. If you click new slide, it also populates for me, but that's because I've already picked sort of this theme from the suggested designs. I'll just pause here to make sure you're okay. question was how we got it, the design thing, right? The technology thing, right? So on here, what we did on our first page, let me delete this. So I just right click and click this delete slide. So on here, we typed in a specific word. So it was maybe medical. And you notice that I have my designer thing clicked or suggested. So on my home page, to the right-hand side, I've got a design, or you see design ideas. So it gives me a bunch of suggestions to use. Now, at the moment, I've already selected one particular design style. So you notice the image at the background sort of still sticks. Now, this is a new design that we created. So I type maybe medical, and it gives me some suggestions as to what I think is best. Like in here, you see a stethoscope on the left-hand side, right? So if I typed technology, it was random, really. Let's type AI, for example. As long as you have the designer thing suggested, it gives you some suggestions that you can use. If not,
I think
that's not a problem.
I think my own problem is I'm not seeing any design.
Okay, so if not, don't worry about it. It was just to show you other people who have it. It's
Okay.
a really quick way of creating designs. So we're still going to start with a blank page anyway. So we work things from low level, and then as I get a chance to see what version you have, how your screen looks like, you probably have it, but you're just not seeing it yet, right? So if you downloaded the one that we recommended that you download, you should have something like. If not, also it's not a problem, because we're still going to create the designs without it. Okay. Yeah. Seeing some. You notice on here, it's just like an overview, right? It's an overview. Like even this recent thing, you've got an extended version here. The print you've got extended there. So if I click new, for example, I've got access to all of these. But even if I go back to home and I click more themes, it takes me to the same thing. So on the top right corner, you see the more option. So I click that, or simply just click the new, and it will take you to all of these, right?
Yeah.
Right. Understand that not everybody is seeing the designer view now, but that's also something we resolve, right? So at the moment, we just want a blank presentation. We use PowerPoint to make various presentations, or even some designs. And we have seen that we can also use PowerPoint to make a flyer, or even things like in CV, because when we search for CV, we even found one. So you can use it to make various designs, and it makes life a lot easier right now. So even if you can't see this and you open PowerPoint for the first time, you can actually go to File and then click New Presentation, right? In my case, I like to save my work, okay? So I don't lose it. I can just straight away click Save or Save As. The first time you save your work, it's still going to give you a pop-up as to where to save it to. So let's go to the desktop. A lot of things on my desktop. Let me create a new folder for myself, and let's call it maybe ICT.
Hey.
Sorry, if that was a question, just ask. I just want to call this first presentation. And I will save it. So at least it saves for me. This simply means that regularly I just either click the save button on there. This is called a quick access toolbar. So I can just click save to save it. Or if you want, you can turn on your auto save options. You see the bottom left on there where my cursor is. If I turn on auto save, it tries to link it to my OneDrive. I've got other OneDrives connected at the moment, and then you can just upload it there. So that's the online version. And you've got various options, whether to move the whole file or to copy. I don't want to connect to OneDrive because I want to save it locally. But with the auto save option, it kind of works well, especially if you are working on an assignment or a very important document, or if you think your computer is unreliable, or if you're from a country where they do a lot of load shedding, so you know the power will be going off. So you save your work at a regular pace. But to make life easy for yourself, when you are on here, simply press, I'll put it here, Control S most of the time or occasionally to save your work. Now we've saved the work once. So if I just press Control S, my work is saved there. So I can type in something. I just put something there. And I just want to say I save the work now, or do Control S to save it. And I close the work. If I want to find the work that I create, I won't save this one. I won't save this one. I only save the one that I've placed on there. So let me find my folder again. For me, it's on my desktop, and I think I called it ICT PowerPoint. So I open my ICT PowerPoint on there, and let's say in here, I have the presentation on there. I just double click it to open it, and you notice that is the file I saved. Or even if I was on a different document, I just press Control O and I can open it. Are we okay up to this point?
Yes, sir.
That's brilliant.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So in here, we have a blank presentation. We just want to add some slides, but first of all, let's inspect what is happening here at the moment. So somebody give me a title. I don't know. What title should I use? ICT special. Nobody said anything, right? And then I just normally, it's good idea to put your name at the bottom or something like that. So I just put that in there. Right. At the moment, we notice that the moment I typed the content that boxes have sort of disappeared. If I just do Control-Z, go back, at the moment it's showing me where I can type. So these are simply just placeholders that allow me to type some contents on there. So it's just a placeholder. If I click on slideshow, which is when I go to a presentation, how it looks like, you see this box there, you see it disappears. So at the moment that doesn't show. There's a bit of maybe a bit of animation going on. It just say add subtitle on there, but that doesn't show on here. So the moment I just put something in this particular placeholder, the content will rather appear on there. So let's go back to my home, and I can start editing something or adding some content. So I can click in here in the thumbnail on the left-hand side. I can right-click, and then I can click New Slide, and it will add a new slide for me. So you notice the first slide is slightly different from the other one, the new slide. I think this one looks a little bit boring at the moment. So let's make use of maybe some images. And one really good way of getting images really quickly is to use stock images, which is just a bunch of images that Microsoft have given you to use freely. So let's go, and I click Insert, the top left, and I go to Pictures. You see there, I click on the little arrow next to the pictures. I click on Stock Images, and then it pops up something for me on the side. I'm interested in ICT. Maybe I won't find ICT altogether, but maybe I'll find IT. Let's see. Or maybe computer. It gives me something interesting. So maybe I'll find, I think that is interesting. I want to use that. I'll click it, and then I'll click Insert and give it a bit of time for it to be inserted on there. I know mine is giving the design suggestions. I can easily do that and it will look really cool, but we don't want to do that because some of us are not seeing it. Straight away, I just want to do some editing. Don't worry too much about what is happening now, because when we work more with images, we will actually see how this goes. But at the moment, it's covering the text I put on there. So I just right-click the image, and then I have bring to the front or bring forward, and I've got send to the back or send backwards. I'll just click send to the back, and it'll go behind the text. So already we are doing some form of text editing. I just want to drag it around a little bit to make it look a bit more presentable. I click in my text. To highlight the text, I click the last from the back, drag and hover over the whole text. And maybe I can change the text color by clicking font, and then I'll change that to white. and then maybe I'll change that to white. I'm just going to do whatever I think is fancy at the moment. Nothing really special, something horrible I'm doing with colors, right? Let's see. White on black background and a little bit white on black background. Just leave it there for now. See something in the chat window, so I'll catch up with that. Okay, so if you didn't get the images and other things, don't worry too much. We just leave it there. We focus on creating the new slides. It's just some small things I've done with the particular background or the first background to make it look cool. But all I did was go to insert, and then the pictures, I click the arrow next to it, and I click stock images, and I typed, it opened up this sidebar for me. And I typed different things in here, the side panel, different images. I started with ICT, I didn't get anything. Technology, I didn't get much. And then IT. Then I chose an image, and then I clicked enter or insert for it to work. So we've done some test editing on the side as well, but not to worry too much about it. So at this point, I just want to click Command S or Control S to save my work, okay? So in here, we were interested in adding some content. You notice that if I click again and I click New, it gives me sort of the same layout. You notice you've got a title, you've got content, again, title, content. And if we keep going, it's going to go the same way. What if we want to change the layout? So let me go back to my home screen. You notice the new slide option there. First one, we just right click in here and then we click new slide. Another option is we just click next to the new slide. If we click the same, it'll still give me the same layout, but this time I want to click it and I click the little arrow and it gives me different layouts that I can use. So let's pick a random layout, maybe this layout, and it gives me something different. So this one, I can have some images and other things inserted. Maybe I can click an image for picture insert for me. Are we okay up to this point? Let me do Control S to save. Resume, and this one I have a placeholder for title. So I don't know, learning PowerPoint. Or let's say learning objectives. And in here, I just want to start with PowerPoint. And we just say introduction. So you just click anywhere and then you can start typing, okay? Just click next to inside the place or the layout of the placeholder, and then you just type. So let's say introduction in terms of what will be introduction, entering test. And let's say I want to insert something in between. I can click at the back of that and press enter, and then maybe put maybe backstage view. I hope it's 2 words. Otherwise, the rest of the world get to laugh at me for that. So backstage view, and we've done some entering tests. We've got using themes. So let me put there. Pinning recent file to the top. We've gone through that as well. We've entered some tests. We've used the designer mode, design suggestion. It's quite a different name, but we'll fix that next time as soon as I remember. We've even inserted an image today. We've done some test editing as well, for changing the color of the test. And it doesn't matter. And then we've also highlighted test. So, we've also done a bit of slideshow, but if you want to view the slideshow, there is little, like, I don't know, like a whiteboard at the bottom left next to the zoom in button there, or zoom in slide bar there. Or you can just go to slideshow and then press that, or you just press Command F5 and that will take you to the slideshow. But let's click this one. So at the moment, within a few minutes, this is what we've created. This is the content we have created. And if those who want, those who have what I have, even if you don't want me to confuse you, you can just, in a few minutes, just click a design suggestion. And the slide that was looking like that is looking like this right now. So in a short time, this is what we have created. And also these are some of the key things we have covered as a class. So I will pause here. I'll actually